Donald Trump hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything to affect the economy. But if you watch the news from pro-Trump sides, right, from like Newsmax or Fox, you're gonna get people talking about how he's doing such a great job with the economy. Biden did nothing but hurt the economy. The price of eggs are down. The price of gas is down. Energy is down. He's doing such a great job. But what has he actually done? They cover these topics about, trying to make Trump look good. Like they'll talk about how he did this. No, that's the thing. It's like they don't even talk about what he done. All they talk about is like the actual conclusion, which is like now, right? So like they'll say gas is down, eggs are down, Trump's doing a good job. It's because Trump is doing what he's doing. Has nothing to do with Trump with what Trump's doing. Trump hasn't done anything. He's talked about tariffs. He's talked a lot, and that that is why, things seemingly are on the uptick, right? So like Trump's talks about tariffs. We're gonna tariff the shit out of Canada, which we get a good chunk of energy and lumber from. We're gonna tariff the shit out of Mexico and Canada or China, which we get a lot of products from. Cheap labor is cheap products. He's only said the words. There have been no tariffs yet. There are no tariffs. And, people might say, oh, he did do a tariff. Like, so then how much? Where? When? To whom? To nobody. There hasn't been a single tariff. But if he's done nothing, then why is it that gas is a little cheaper? We're going into the warmer months when gas typically goes up. It's actually going down. Well, it's has nothing to do with what he's doing because he hasn't even set up any tariffs yet. So then why? It's because he's talking shit. He does what he does. If he says we're gonna tariff the shit out of these people will react as if it already happened. There is nothing in reality that says that the tariffs are up right now. Tariffs went up like 9 months ago to Canada, and nobody even noticed. It was during like when Biden was president, and we had a raise in tariffs for Canada, and nobody batted an eye. Nobody even heard about it. Nobody cares. You can ask, like, you can go to your lumber mill and ask them, like, when will like somebody might know, but in general, nobody does. Nobody knew that there was um, a tariff increase on Canada. And so then if there were no tariffs that happened, then what did happen? Well, he talked a lot of shit and people reacted as if what he said was already happening. So you have him talking about tariffs, people are worried about, their financial future, so they start taking their money they start getting liquid. They start taking their cash out from stocks and cryptos and, their investments. And, in order to fight the future prices, you end up just buying now. That creates an increase in money velocity. More people are buying shit. That increases the neutral interest rate. If the neutral interest rate goes up and the Fed funds rate, the actual interest rate, and that stays the same, that larger gap between the neutral interest rate and the Fed funds rate makes the Fed funds rate seem more stimulative. So if you got the neutral interest rate at 3%, and then you have the Fed funds rate at 3%, that is I mean, it feels like a bad economy, but really it's just neutral. It's not neither accommodating nor restrictive to the economy. Well, if you have the neutral interest rate then grow from there, that 3% will start feeling stimulative because the neutral interest rate just went up 0.5%, right? So like as the neutral interest rate grows or it goes up and separates itself from the Fed funds rate, that Fed funds rate becomes stimulative. It makes it as if it was easier to get cash, but it's not. The interest rate hasn't changed. How much the interest rate like stimulates the economy has changed. So Trump hasn't done anything yet. Things are getting cheaper, seemingly, right? People, if you watch Newsmax or Fox, they'll talk about how inflation is going down. It's not inflation. Inflation is not the problem. If everybody's talking about inflation, then why do some things get more expensive and others don't? If it was just inflation, and inflation is the increase of money, the increase of access to money, of borrowing money, it's the price of dollars. If your interest rate is 3%, that means it's $1.03 per dollar that you borrow, right? That's the price of money. Then you have to pay it back later, but like the price of money is the interest rate. So if you're borrowing cash, you're going to be more careful when cash is expensive. If you have a high interest rate, you're not going to borrow as much cash. That's going to create an economic slowdown because everybody's in debt. Everybody lives, everybody makes day-to-day purchases on debt. Like it's not even real money. It's not even their money. I mean, technically it's nobody's money until it gets created, and then it's the banks. But like inflation is not like prices go up. Prices going up is the symptom. It's the effect that happens after money gets created. Increase of money and credit, right? So there's more money in circulation when there's like high debts, and therefore the supply of dollars being so high makes the price of everything else go high because there's simply more, like the value of the thing that you're buying doesn't actually change, but how many dollars you need in order to get that product, that thing, like the amount of dollars you need goes up. So people are always talking about inflation. Where? Like if there's crazy inflation, then why is gas been like more or less, within the same realm for the last like few years? If, inflation was that rampant, like gas isn't that much more expensive. But, food has gone up way more than gas, percentage wise. But if it's supposed to be inflation, it would have affected both products evenly. So Trump didn't do anything. He didn't lower interest rates. He didn't the deficit actually went up. Like the deficit went up 5%. That means like we spent 5% more this year at this point than we did last year at this point. And Biden was president last year. So if anything, things should be getting more expensive. But the fact is, like, just Trump's words and just like the rumor creates the economic shift that will then give the result that the Federal Reserve wants. The Federal Reserve wants to lower or raise the neutral interest rate. That way, they have the ability to then use interest rates in order to stimulate or restrict the economy again. If the neutral interest rate is too low, you can't set interest rates low enough in order to affect the economy the way they want, right? So like if the neutral interest rate is 1%, like there's not enough space in order to create a stimulative interest rate unless you get into negative territory. That's just not ideal. It's going to cost money in order to use your money. So Trump didn't do anything. He never could, never will. That's okay. But you're doing all right. You'll figure it out. I am.